Hey everyone, today we are going to be learning about shapes and their attributes. So I'm going to read our learning target for us. It is 2.G.A.1 and it says, I can recognize and draw shapes having specified attributes such as a given number of angles or a given number of equal faces. Identify triangles, quadrilaterals, pentagons, hexagons, and cubes. So we are going to talk about all of these. So look at our little chart over here. So we're going to talk about some shapes and their attributes. An attribute is like a characteristic. An attribute is something that describes the shape so you can identify it. So let's first look at a triangle. I'm going to look at a triangle. Okay, so let's think about some characteristics of a triangle. Now, first thing that I like to do is look and see how many sides there are. So how many sides are there? So there's one side, goes here, two sides, goes there, three sides. Okay, so there are, I'm going to write that in our attributes box. So there are three sides. Now, an angle. An angle, when we talk about shapes, is the corner where two lines meet. So a triangle is made up of three sides which look like straight lines, and an angle is where the two of those lines meet. So it's kind of like a point. It's our point right there. A triangle has three sides, and it has, how many pink dots do I have? 1, 2, 3. Has three angles. And those are attributes of a triangle, and three sides and three angles to make our friend the triangle. So those are characteristics. So if you might hear a prompt that says, that asks, describe a shape that has three sides and three angles, and you could draw a triangle. Triangles can also look like that. They can look like this. They can look like a lot of things, but their main quality is that they have three sides and then three angles. Three sides, three angles. That makes a triangle. Now, let's look at a quadrilateral. That's a big fun word, quadrilateral. So let's look at our pictures of quadrilaterals down here. So let's count the sides of our quadrilateral. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 sides in that shape. 1, 2, 3, 4. There. Okay, let's think about this one. 1, 2, 3, 4. So what did all of those have in common? They had, how many sides did they have? There were 4 sides. Okay, so let's think about angles. I'm going to get my pink highlighter out again. So let's see, how many angles are there? So where two lines meet, kind of in the corners. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 4 angles there. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 angles there. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 angles there. So how many angles do you think all quadrilaterals have? They have 4 sides and 4 angles. So 3 sides and 3 angles for a triangle, 4 sides and 4 angles for a quadrilateral. Let's look at our pentagon. Pentagon, that's a fun word. Pentagon. Our pentagon, let's count the sides. Let's see how many sides there are in a pentagon. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to zoom in on this a little bit. So So 5 sides in a pentagon. So a pentagon doesn't necessarily always have to look like this. This is also a pentagon. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. A pentagon is any shape that has, how many sides did that have? It had 5 sides. Now let's see how many angles it has. I'm going to get, where 2 lines meet, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 sides, 5 angles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Same thing. So a pentagon is any shape that has 5 sides and 5 angles. Let's look at a hexagon. Hexagon. So notice all these shapes are flat. These shapes right here, the triangle, quadrilateral, pentagon, and hexagon are they're flat on the paper, and that'll be important when we look at our object after the hexagon. So let's look at hexagon. Let's see how many sides it has. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there are 6 sides. Let's count our angles where 2 lines meet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And there are 6 angles. A hexagon is any object that has 6 sides and 6 angles, and all of the lines, there's no breaks or gaps. They're touching. They're all connected, and that's with any of these shapes. All the lines have to be connected, because that makes, these are called polygons, which is a big word, but poly just means many, and so many sides. Okay, polygons. The last shape we're going to look at is a little bit different than the other shapes. What do you notice about that shape? It's 3-dimensional. It's, if you can have we can, in class we're going to hold cubes in our hands. So a cube is a 3-dimensional shape. These other shapes are 2-dimensional, means that they're flat on the paper, but a 3D shape in real life, it's going to be big. You can hold it, you can sit it in your hand, and it stands up tall. There's height, width, and then it goes back. We have depth as well. And you don't necessarily need to know that. We just want to know about the attributes of a cube. Attributes of a cube. So let's count the sides, because that's still going to be important. And we can't see all of them, but when we practice and we hold the cubes in our hands, we'll be able to count these a little bit better. But there's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and there's going to be 1 back here, 10, and then 11, and then there's going to be 1 going across the back. So there's going to be 12 sides for a cube. But what we really like to talk about in 2nd grade is the faces. I'm going to erase this for just a second so I can count the faces. So the faces are any of the flat sides, like the flat rectangles here that make up the cube. So there's 1, and then there's 2 there, 3, and then there's going to be 1 on the back. So on the back side, 4, and then there's going to be another one over here, 5, and then on the bottom, which is, this is not a great way to show you all, but, and then on the bottom that's flat. And again, we're going to show you, so there are 6 faces, and when we practice in class you'll see this, but there are 6 faces on a cube. see if I can number them. So 1, 2, 3, and their 4 is on the bottom, and it's flat on the bottom. 5, and then it's kind of on the side over here, and then 6 is on the back of the cube. So there are 6 faces. And that's what we really want you all to practice knowing in 2nd grade. So here's just an overview of our shapes and their attributes. And again, we will practice more with this. So let's practice in class, but let's look at an example of a question or a prompt you might see here. It says, draw and identify a shape that has fewer than 5 angles. So let's go look at our chart. Which of these has fewer than 5, so less than 5? So I see 3 angles here and 4 angles here, 3 angles with a triangle and 4 angles with a quadrilateral. So all you would need to draw is draw and identify a shape that has fewer than 5 angles. So you could draw a parallelogram, and that would work. Or you could draw a triangle, because there are 1, 2, 3, 4 sides, so there are 1, 2, 3, 4 angles. My only problem there, I need to make sure those are connected. And then on my triangle, I have 1, 2, 3 angles, which means I have 3 sides. So both of these would be correct if you were given this prompt. Draw and identify a shape that has fewer than 5 angles. You could also draw, a square or a rectangle. Your triangle doesn't have to look, it could look like this. But both of those shapes all have fewer than 5 angles. Draw and identify a quadrilateral. So we could draw a quadrilateral. We know that a quadrilateral has what? 4 sides and 4 angles. Okay? So 4 sides and 4 angles. And just draw 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep, that would work. So let's check our work. 4, 2, 3, 4 angles, and 1, 2, 3, 4 sides. Now notice my quadrilateral doesn't look like a perfect square or a perfect rectangle, but all that you need to have a quadrilateral is 4 lines and 4 angles, and those lines must be connected. But you also could have drawn more of a square or more of a rectangle. Our line's a little curved there. We would go more straight down. Anyway, there's lots of different things you could have done for this prompt. But draw and identify a quadrilateral. All of these things would meet criteria. So just a little intro to shapes, and we'll keep practicing some more on these in class.